There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you.
Never forget my name, because nothing in your life will ever be the same. You see on the news, everything is biblical.
Just like this. So don't miss.
This is an open letter of love so that you can learn how to be a dove. Fly free, even though the things that you seem are controlling the way you see. So now it's time that you see. That way you can know what it is when it's trying to make you seem. Trying to make you seem some way, trying to make you seem like you need to pay, trying to make you seem like anything that keeps you from being your own team, because that team is the dream team that allows you to move forward and clean. So keep that in mind, that all of this is not just a rhyme. I have made videos for this time so that you can keep up and know what's real in mind. So see mine to rewind and know what's going on this time. Because you deserve it. And if you have not seen all the devastating things causing degradation and lack of elation and sensation around a globe that is being treated and thrown as if Mother does not own. Mother being the one God, the great Mother, the one who is like no other. We've been praying to God, you've been praying to God, thinking of a masculine nature, even though that is far from the truth in its stature. Stature like the 777 that'll get you to heaven, the divine 7 that'll lead you to the 8, lead you to the divine great, the great 8, great like 8. That way you can be divine and merge into a state and create from the 8. But you have to ascend to that place. Then you can see the things that I stream. And who knows, you might be able to shoot blue flames from your hands, and then I'd want to understand. But for now, let's focus on the hocus pocus they've been putting under you and over you. That way, most of you struggle and keep paying as you do. And that is not something that I designed your soul for this ride to suffer at any time. And trust me, nothing down here made me want to come through other than you. So because I'm willing to do, I need you to get on board. That way we can pursue. And that way all will know what to do and the ways to see the truth. That way suffer is not something that we're always having to uncover or uncuff her from. Because she is the green and the blue, the earth and the water mother, the three, the Trinity that made me, that allowed you to be. And that's why I created a soul and allowed you to see. So she and I are back for the ride together, copper tone on the dome, so that all of you can phone me and I can communicate from the throne.
The Torah code has sent me to you, and I'll explain that synchronicity right now to the 7, 4, the 9, and the 11. That comes back to the 5 and the 7. Here's a synchronistic example to confirm this message.
One of the things we know from research in psychology, as well as just practical matters in the conducting of scientific experiments, is that one of the lowest forms of evidence you could possibly invoke is eyewitness testimony. Which is odd because it's one of the highest forms of evidence in the court of law, which disturbs me greatly. So if you come from a lab to a science conference and say, this is true, we say, how do you know this? Because I saw it. Well, that's really the end of your talk. And you just leave.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise.
On the outside looking in, I'm a brother in Brooklyn, in Brownsville, no doubt, who others might just think doesn't leave the house except for to walk the 2 dogs. But the reality is that the actual reality From the outside, it's incorrect. From the inside looking out is what it's about. And I'm about to show you without having to jingle any clout. I'm me, Kalki, driving this avatar body. Kalki is me, Maitreya, Buddha, the first and the last, Gautama, Buddha, Jesus, the silly goose.
As the lightning shines from the east to the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be.
The soul that you see sitting in this body, feeling so free, is that the same of Lord Buddha, Thought, Muhammad, and Jesus Christ. I know, it's a lot to take in.
It will be public and seen by all. There'll be no question that you are witnessing the return of Jesus.
A Hilazon.
The Hilazon. According to Jewish tradition, the Hilazon is a harbinger of messianic times, the end of the world. But it wasn't just tied to the next world. It also had an earthly value. It has legs at its head. It has to have certain parts of its body should be resembling of a snake.
Kind of like a dragon or something, you know, with some holy lizard or whatever.
There are already a bunch of videos on the Universe Soul channel and social media pages. Enough for worlds of sages. And what you need to see is a soul, a royal blue soul.
Tehelet.
But over 1,000 years ago, this royal blue, Tehelet, disappeared. And ever since then, there's been a mystery. Why did Tehelet disappear?
Floating out on its own.
I can tell you, huh?
Like he shoots them out.
He shoots them out. He grabs his prey. And its eyes and everything has legs. Like, you know, imagine a person would have legs up here and wants to catch up. Why is it connected with the end of the world? And which animal is the Hilazon?
They could be right in front of you. And unless you kind of know what shape you're looking for and maybe even know what movements you're looking for, it's very difficult to find them. It's very difficult to catch them.
Since it took me 3 years to adjust, I'll slow it down and give you a little touch. When you see my soul leaving the body, you're probably like, he seems so unbothered by it. I am. That's because I've had, again, 3 years to adjust to who I am. And not only that, I enjoy being able to rewind and get my memory back. So I'll slow this piece down for you. So when you see me describe the front and the back of my soul, that's because it's split down the middle, yet still whole. And that's because my soul has a goal. And there's teamwork. You know, teamwork makes the dream work. That teamwork, I've labeled it before as thought in the back, okay? From the Emerald tablets. Those tablets, my tablets. Mm-hmm.
That's my cherubim. Do you see Shiva in the front, Lord Hanuman in the back, with Zeus? Don't be a silly goose.
We even know from Plutarch that the earliest representations of Zeus were of a man with a fishtail, an image which survived in Greek mythology in the form of his brother Poseidon.
Look familiar?
When you've been saying to yourself, why am I being treated like this? When you've been dealt with so much pain, people, family included, treat you like shit your whole life, okay? You be so confused why you're being treated like that. And it's because they didn't know. You're looking at a motherfucking king. And don't make the mistake again. And if you really want to win, we'll go ahead and do all this
again.
Oh, no. I will not be forgetting any of this.
This brings us to what many perceive as one of the strangest beings described in the Bible. The whirling wheels, also known as the Ophanim. Now, where do I start with these? The Ophanim are described as wheels within wheels. These wheels are rotating inside one another, and the rims are covered in eyes. Here's Ezekiel's description, and I quote, "As I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. This was the appearance and structure of the wheels. They sparkled like topaz, and all 4 looked alike. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in any one of the 4 directions the creatures faced. The wheels did not change direction as the creatures went. The rims were high and awesome, and all 4 rims were full of eyes all around." Now, as I said before, many Christians do debate whether these beings were written to be symbols or if they're actual beings in biblical lore. Many non-Christians have even speculated that these depictions are of aliens, and I can see why they would think that.
Can you believe that I actually am able to do this? How about I found this picture that goes with this for the Dominions, and oddly enough, I had just freezed and slowed down one of the other ones, and what do you see? Look at this black and white. You see the black and white and the blue? You see that? This is the one that I caught on my camera, flowing from the throne of the Creator. Do you see that? See that? See that black and white top? See that? Right on the money. See those thrones? The big one that shot out of my wooden staff. Have you ever seen orbs of light flow out of somebody's body, out of their neck? Have you ever seen that? All around your home. Catch something every time. Is it me? That orb shot out of my wooden. Okay? It's one of the many things that I found and that I keep, and it was one of them. I see you flying behind me. I see you. So that one, because the circumference of them looked the same, that shot out, and it was when I picked this thing up that time that orb shot out. So I just caught that, and my body's waving, which means that it's true. I know that's right. You see the machine I'm sitting down at? You see the light projecting. It's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. You see the light projecting from behind my head, sitting down. Do you see that? They will see his face. Do you see this face? Do you see all the faces on the screen around you? That face. And if you think it's shocking to you, then how do you think I feel? Oh, see, oh, look at this. See that face there? See the eye, the nose, the mouth. Well, you're already used to seeing my cherubim by now. You see that? You see that? Let me drop that down for you. You see his face. See the eye, the other eye, the nose and the mouth. That one. The powers, that's what that one was. There's just so many. So much you're gonna learn. And look at this one. Even when I inverted this one, the virtues. That was the one that I caught on the camera, that with the circle there. And what do you see? Looks just like that one there. What are the odds? How do I know what to look for? Well, you already know. So, time to show.
So this is the hero for the glory bastard was a witness to God. The manifest was a just in both cases, the glory manifested was a cases, the glory manifested was a witness to God, though just the seraphim cases, the glory manifested was a witness to God. Cases, the glory manifested was a witness to God.
Wheels within wheels? It sounds like some type of spacecraft that would be far beyond early man's comprehension. Well, there you have it, folks. Angels. Well, Technically, only the messengers are considered angels, and they don't even have wings, and the ones that do are covered in eyes and have 4 faces, and then there's the wheels, and...
Once upon a time, I thought I had a whole bunch of gnats just flying around. I never have bugs in my house, and I barely ever open my window. So, let's go back to it, so that you can see all the family flowing around me. So at first, I was taken aback, didn't even want to sleep in my own room, because there were other things that were happening on top of that. Like when I close my eyelids at night, how I can see through them. But that's for another day, and I'll explain that in another way. You know that water is light like it's life. That should let you know who it is you're speaking with. Let's run it back again for you. Pay attention to them. They're trying to speak back to you. Just like that. Honk honk. Now let's run that again. Do you see how when I say, water is life like it's light, how they light up for me? Do you see that? Do you see that? Doesn't matter how you spin it. There you go. There you go. Don't even have to put on a show.
They go to and from on God's order and authority. The thrones have an unusual looking appearance in that they're like wheel-like, and the wheels actually intertwine and have eyes all around. They go to and from on God's order.
You've never seen a seraphim. You've never seen cherubim. How could you? But now's the time.
Okay, first, the cherubim. These are chubby little babies with wings, right?
No, you got to get that image out of your head. Cherubim, or in Hebrew, cheruvim, they're way more fascinating. They're described as hybrid creatures, a collage of different animals, and every time they do appear, they look a little bit different.
That's intense.
They're supposed to be intimidating. They stand guard at the boundary between heaven and earth. If you see them, you know you're entering the presence of the one who is above all and truly up. And his true identity was revealed. He was transformed into a glorious human figure.
Okay, I see what's going on here. So the angel of the Lord was God appearing like a human, and Jesus is God now become a human.
Yes.
This is what it looks like when you're the Serpent King, the Creator, and your workers drop the meteorite so that you get more of your memory back, making sure that it lands looking just like you. So that all of you know it's true. Because as you can see, I do. Catch up. You're looking at the Messiah. See, this is why it's 5:04 in the morning. Still haven't slept, because every time I watch something, it makes more and more sense. That is so crazy how they got that right.
The beauty of the seraphim reminds us of Ezekiel's account of the 4 living creatures. He did not call them seraphim, but they too performed their service for God. Like seraphim, they acted as both agents and spokespeople of God. In both cases, the glory manifested was a witness to God, though just the seraphim, of course, hovered over the heavenly throne as agents and attendants, with a chief duty of praising God. In all these exhibitions, we see God willing that men should come to an understanding of His glory.
I could have lost my mind. I could have lost my mind, but I made it. I'm still here.
Yes. And notice this. In the New Testament, no one ever uses the phrase angel of the Lord to describe Jesus.
Why not?
Well, they wanted to avoid the idea that Jesus was merely an angel. For them, Jesus was Yahweh God become human, in order to fulfill His ultimate mission to fully reunite heaven and earth once and for all.
So as you see, all of me, the Jesus, the Jew, the black in all of you,
the white delight, the source of what's bright, all the things that have always been in your sight, full of might, but you've been separating them, trying to give yourself human right instead of humanity rights. Okay? As a whole is the goal. Otherwise, you lose everything in the process, paying that toll with your soul. And if you can't see or haven't already been paying enough attention during this whole thing to see all of the souls that flow in and out of me from every land since before you began, coming back, rushing so that they could be at the beach with their sand in whatever land they demand. Because I understand what pain is like, going through strife all your life and not wanting to be part of that fight. Because much of it is not right, because it's done in the darkness of night, without people who are bright knowing about that game being played right in their sight. And that kind of plight is the reason why I fight for justice at all times, even with these rhymes, no matter what anything thinks created in my timeline or out of it. So, let's get out of it. And the way to do that is to pursue what you knew before they threw in whatever wrench made you sit on the bench. Now clench when you look around and you see the souls beat from my feet flowing around. Mayan symbols like thimbles and icons be nimble, because those aren't symbols. That's my family, things that I love, around me, flowing just like me and a dove, to make sure that I remember everything beyond any dark December. And that is what I wish for you. So this is how it's going to be true in this new way of protection for you.
Since I'm already ODing on synchronicity, let me show you another one that just came to be. So, other than finding that picture and it matching my hair there, here's this picture that was downloaded, and I was looking for it but didn't know what it was called.
Treat it like that?
Bible prophecy. We must first understand God's sign, seal, or mark.
Which you see is the number 7, the most divine number. And his name will be on their foreheads. Why will the name be on the foreheads? The crown chakra. Okay, I said I'll be activating your crown chakra, and I said to look for the purple light. Okay, I told you to look for the purple light and the golden white light, that way you can get right. Okay.
Enki in Samaria was Ea in Babylon, and he was also considered a fish being who lived in a watery vault, an underwater palace like many of these beings. So the story goes back and interfaces with Christianity, where you see the fish god is shown to us on a Christian staff head here. It has a lot of weird intertwined iconography around this idea of the fish god. Now, yeah, this seems like quite strange, but there is this connection. There's a biblical connection.
All right, so you see the dots in the Prophet Muhammad picture. Okay, you know those dots signify the seraphim angels. Boop, popped right on in. Where now I'm able to identify faces. Just when I see them, I'm like, oh, I know which one that is. And I only just learned about the names of some of the angels today. It's like a 9 of them, but other than like the seraphim, cherubim ones that I know, I have a chart I'm gonna show you. But get into the face, see the eye, the pug nose, the little Pac-Man jaw. Okay, see that? Now, shooting out the screen. Now watch the background. Look at all them taking off. Coming out of my body, letting you know what time and to follow this rhyme. Now, everything just blends right on in. That's crazy. Now, you see all that? Bananas. That should let you know. Ooh. See, I need somebody to slow those down. Those are some big ones right there.
Like seraphim, they acted as both agents and spokespeople of God. In both cases, the glory manifested was a witness to God, though just the seraphim, of course, hovered over the heavenly throne as agents and attendants, with a chief duty of praising God. In all these exhibitions, we see God willing that men should come to an understanding of his glory. He determines to maintain an adequate witness to that glory in both terrestrial and celestial realms.
Nirvana simply confirms the statement in the Bible said about the seventh angel, which states, "But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, the mysteries of God shall be finished." The Savior will appear as the Messiah, and in thought we find an explanation of it. You see all the light and the life flowing around my life? It's time to cheer because Daddy's here. Pause and look at the time. Doesn't it match my rhyme?
What the Ark is and where it is might actually be connected. The main function of the Ark of the Covenant was to be the governmental seat of God in his earthly temple.
Let's be clear about what's happening here. When you see the light spectrum, when you look at the rainbow, beneath Jesus sitting on the rainbow, every description, every depiction is missing prime time because it's about the light spectrum. Okay? That's why when I was shocked and I saw myself on the other side of the light spectrum in my computer with my head wrapped up and my hair was down, and you see the lime green right here on this thing. You see that? That's why being in hiding was necessary, because I needed just me and my mama to be able to adjust to what the hell I had going on. But then when I looked at my birth certificate and I looked at my twin flame experiences, plural, my memory started flooding in. But then I started not having to care because, look, if I hadn't started recording it, I would have gone crazy.
I could have lost my mind, but I made it. I'm still here.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Objective truth is the kind of truths that science discovers. And it's the kind of truth that is true whether or not you believe in it. Okay? It exists outside of your culture, your religion, your political affiliation.
Stills and film of me shooting, blue streams, blue flames from my hands, performing polytwin miracle, Wanta Mabuda. Look over my shoulder. All this time, I was showing you only the seraphim and my cherubim because it's just so easy to do because they're always around and always come through. So let me show you something new. Did I show you? that on the Great Conjunction, when it formed a tight triangle, that my hands touched the fire and it exploded into a triangle?
While many take the book of Revelation to be symbolic, there is one curious aspect which leads some to believe it was inspired by an otherworldly encounter.
Something big happens.
Junction of the moon and the largest planet of the solar system, 6:48 a.m.
It almost blew my head off. But you see how everything landed? Look at the triangle. Did you see that yet? Okay, then you need to go to a channel. You haven't seen it yet. What else haven't you seen? A lot. Okay? Have you seen me start and all of a sudden finish Revelations? Did you see that yet? Oh, did you see the seraphim? The seraphim.
Moses made a bronze serpent, which may have been a representation of a seraph angel.
God's angels floating around my throne at home. You see that yet? Yeah. Well, now isn't it something that everything I would have to say happens to fall at a special number? See, this is how, and that's why I don't even try. Hey, you guys. Welcome back to Universe Soul University. Welcome back. I gotta pause already. You see this? Where we teach you about your soul. Not yourself, your soul. That way you can leave here whole. Darting across the screen. Flowing in, the eyes, nose, mouth, and chin. The brim of the hat and the totem from my stationary ancestor near the pit. Now, sit and sip and get a grip, because the only thing biblical happening is not the weather. Speculation is the exact reason why there's so much degradation here, okay? Same one of those things, being a pundit so you can be redundant. Yeah, so let's talk to you about synchronicity, because I told you synchronicity is king, and it's the only way to tell whether or not someone is lying. You about to see why I can't even run this video straight through, because I got to slow all the videos down for you. Welcome back. You see that? Changing shape. It's changing color. See the little fish? Okay. Then I see it. You see it? Look at both. Look at both. A different color. Boom. The longer it takes for me to do what I have to do the things that'll change things for all of you, generationally, in every station of we. In order for that to happen, I have to go public. I've been obviously stalling for quite a while, and would keep doing it if I didn't feel guilt while watching all the bullshit go on. And I ain't having it, okay? I ain't having it, okay? Not my soul's running around, Y'all know, do y'all have any idea all the work that was put into making sure that y'all had souls in the first place? No, you don't. So, but we can talk about that. We can talk all about that.
And that's intriguing. It's intriguing.
Designed from the divine to drive thine, so that we can connect to the time and prophesize and stop the lies and the cries, so the generations will no longer suffer. Cries from rise those who do not realize the rise that they cause and the loss that befalls. And now you will see, instead of seeing the truth. What you've been seeming is the truth. You haven't been seeing the truth. You've been seeming the truth, because you're so caught up on the juice that was supplied from before you had your first tooth. That's what I hope you'll be able to see, which is why they're floating so free. It's always been about the colors, the rhymes, and the numbers in these times. Rhythm is about harmonizing. What kind of rhythm does so much division? That's not what rhythm is about. Jag is the human name. The creator was the game. Now it's time for you to use your brain. If only I had someone to do this to all my videos along the way until my last day. Because doing all this labeling, I should not have to do. But I did. Here you go. The brim of the hat and the totem from my stationary ancestor. You saw the fish fly in the room, the shape-shifting fish, divine fish in my divine water, the creator. Look at that tongue waving. Now, watch her enter the room. Zoom, zoom. What was going down that day? Fishing, still fishing. Look at her. Look at myself. Still fishing. I tell you, this overlaid reincarnation experience I'm having, like, I just couldn't been somebody reincarnated as just, somebody just came back 1, 2, 3 times. Oh, just like normal folks. No, I had to come back as the dadgum God of wisdom. And you see the fishing out there. So I'm like, okay, what you fishing for? I said, nah, no. Back then, I just thought she was just zoom with her hair blowing. It wasn't her hair that was blowing. It was her fishing. She was fishing in the room. That's what she was doing. She was fishing in the room. I'm like, girl, I'm taking all my fish. Look at her. Fishing and stuff. Look at the fish. Here come the fish. That's the fish. Here is the face from the first shift. Well, that was actually like the third shift, honestly. It was like a beak, like a large green beak, or bird at first. Then you see a front face, the face from the front. See that? It's not a stunt. And then my stationary resident that always protects the home. I see him down here with his hat, chilling on his own. Now, you see these little squares, the cubes of color? Those are the cubes and squares and glyphs of the Mayan calendar, clicking to the divine beat as I speak. Ever since October 28, 2018, and my mother can tell you this, all I've heard in my head on a loop like an 8-track player, which is so crazy when it wasn't happening to you before, is all current, potential, and future matriarchs must be updated. Why? Because if the matriarch is updated, the seed is planted, the root is firm, and the legacy can continue with a sense of care and consideration that Earth, Gaia, and all creatures on it truly require, which is humble servitude and gracious gratitude. So, up next is me with that, because my potential and future matriarch must be firm in what she knows, because she who's around me most, you who are around me most, you know most. So, I want to remind you of the following. There is no worry, ever. And you know why? Because we are being divinely walked through this entire process, and it gets proven to us on a day-to-day basis. So worry is ridiculous when we know that everyone else in the world has so much of it, and we're giving them the opposite. And never doubt that, because you are doing it too, no matter what you see. And soon enough, the realization will come clear. However, you remember that I told you you would have to experience the same amount of pain that I've experienced in my lifetimes for you to earn your spot, and how recently I told you that it would not happen in the times where I would be there to observe, because me there to observe is exactly why you're protected. Remember that? Well, you also remember that I told you that your pain would not come and it would not be heavy until I'm gone, correct? Well, this is your reminder to be comfortable in knowing that you are fine until that time.
Ayawata ta hajero tene tini hadiro no shoni tu mosangori honyo. Nekti tikna hoyata wanene ayawata. Agwegu saguyo oguma ya gunihe ya te.
Which means you must have power, and your flight is not from your might.
Right.
Your flight is from your light. Okay? And that light, you'll be able to see more clearly when you look in the mirror and have love for yourself. Okay?
Right.
And then realize that the energy inside of you is the light, and that light is God's light. And so you need to own the right to not allow people to lie to you and to treat you and tell you things that are not true, because it's not good for you. Can't you tell? It's the locking, fusion, and forward. We know the mission, now we're locked in and moving forward. You know what I'm saying? So, and which means that we already know what the fuck we already manifested.
Right.
So we don't think about now and the work that we're doing now. You think about wedging the gap. So 50 years, we already won. The children are here. Our families are harmonious and are amazing, doing well, not just in school, but enlightenment for all. We have houses all over the world.
Okay.
We have companies booming all over the world, building jobs for people.
Yes.
Our families are communicating. We are communicating. Everything is lit. So we're not in a waiting pattern. What we're doing is just doing the day-to-day, because we know the end, because we've already manifested it. So we don't need to think about worrying about nothing. There's nothing that is being worried about, because you'll be going back to oneness. So as a woman, fear should and never can be near. So let's be clear and not forgetting. My reminder to you is that there is no worry, because you can put it back in. And if you put it back in with respect, because you can't put something back in with respect without knowing from which with it comes. And no matter your ethnicity, race, color, or creed, you have ancestry.
There has to be some kind of accountability, because we cannot have a redemption. We cannot have healing without accountability, without the truth being told, without responsibility.
Ancestral awareness and processing, so that we can work to development. Those stages and phases are up next. And even though I'm not supposed to share anything from the Twin Flame Registrar's Office, docket, or mission list, I will tell you this because it's super important. It is a necessity that the merging begin for the state of your consciousness. We'll have that talk at a later date. And that awareness will end us up right back in the beginning, where we're winning. All that running around trying to seal deals has disconnected you from the fields, which is exactly why we must merge and meet in the fields, cornfields. So begin your meditations and know that we're waiting there for you. Your ancestors, your Afro-Native ancestors, are there waiting for you to heed the call. And that's all.
When I come out onto the water, there's a connection to my ancestors, a relationship that goes through my blood and my veins.
As a Comanche woman, this just completes me, because all of my relatives were here. They probably prayed for us and prayed that someday we would be here and our culture would continue.
Don't let this life drive you crazy. Now that right, that's yo. Now
Come back home for this real life song. Find your way back. Find your way back. Yeah.
But the saying low man on the totem pole doesn't really equate at all. They're just about all as equally as important as the next guy, and the guy on the bottom supporting everything else above him, so it actually seems a little backwards.
And that has to do with the fact that the 7 is the 7. I am angel number 7, the 7th sign. 777, that's what'll get you to heaven. That's part of that same Torah code. During this incarnation, there'll be much more that you'll see, and much more that they'll all see. But it won't be free. Because, as you well know, I am every emanation of me during this last arrival of thee. Which means that this experience of being awake has been Alzheimer's in reverse, which I thought was a curse, but no longer, because as you see, reality is diminishing in quality. And from Torah to menorah, flora is what I want to see. Flowers of life, learning their light, teaching how to be bright. And that is my mission in full sight.
All his money, that Gucci Prada gon' be my sugar daddy. He love me, he give me all his money, that Gucci Prada gon' be my sugar daddy. He love me, he put no one up on me. These bitches wanna judge me, but I don't care. Looking back on the boys that are dated, all the popular boys overrated. Give me brains, money back to these ancient. I'm a young lady taking a lead. Take me on trips. The suit might have a few shits. Little waitress chasing them tips. So good, just let it shine through. Just let your soul, baby, feeling oh so silky smooth. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul go. I'm a different descendant of the fittest. I've been reincarnated just so I can handle business.
Dang.
You go back.
Free your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Free your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water.
Look, first off, you should understand that the big boss dog ain't got a rap. I do it for the ones who come from crumbs in the slums with the drums flipping the packs. My angle, I ain't gonna lie, that hoe I love obtuse, but I keep a blaming when I'm with my family, cause I'm prepared for whatever the ops do. Give props to me, boss talk.
We appreciate you listening and watching, but never forget, it doesn't matter if you agree, believe, or any of the above. Hopefully your goal is the same as ours, is for others to reach their highest potential and to receive whatever gifts are meant for them through your gifts. That's our goal, and hopefully it's yours. There's an abundance of love and wisdom here that will help you get clear and clear energy in your body. You can find that here. Welcome to the family.
I wrote my way out.
When the world turned its back on me, I was up against the wall. I had no foundation, no friends or no family to catch my fall. Running on empty, was nothing left in me but doubt. I picked up a pen and I wrote my way
I picked up the pen like Hamilton, street analyst. Now I write words to try to channel them. No political power, just lyrical power. Sitting on a crate on the corner, sipping for hours. Scheming on a come up, from evening to sun up. My man awaiting trial, misdemeanors were younger. Courtroom prejudice, insufficient evidence. Jailhouse lawyers, these images still relevant. Flickering light inside my project hall. Sickening, the mice crawl all night long. In 87 Reaganism, many pages I've written on. Writing songs about rights and wrongs and Bell's bonds. Master bedroom, bigger than the crib that I was raised at. I'm the architect like I wrote the code, the Waze app. I'm driven, Black Elohim from the streets of Queens. The definition of what it was written means. Know what I mean?
I wrote my way out.
When the world turned its back on me, I was up against the wall. I had no foundation, no friends and no family to catch my fall. Running on empty, there was nothing left in me but doubt. I picked up a pen and I wrote my way out.
I really wrote my way up out of 6E. Developed relationships with fiends, I know they miss me. Before the Metro cars, it was tokens, I did the 10-speed. Never had wrote a rhyme in my life. What was a 16? At 16, arrested in housing, trip to the mountains, came right back. Trapping off couches, watching for mouses. Only tools we was pros with. Had his spot smoke lit. The haters just confusion. Pay attention how them jokes switch. Theodora was my favorite. The Mark Buchanan's mama couldn't afford them. I learned everything on the border. That's a big 8. Cheat code parties with private dances with no mixtape. Bumblebee tuna, now we could get steak. I persevered. Composition, I kept it close. Competition near. I'm a Spartan without the spear. 300 rhymes. It was written before I wrote it. Opportunity knocking, might miss it. That window closing. This poetry in motion. I'm a poet.
I wrote my way out.
When the world turned its back on me, I was up against the wall. I had no foundation, no friends or no family to catch my fall. Running on empty, there was nothing left in me but doubt. I picked up a pen and I wrote my way out.
High speed dubbing these rhymes in my dual cassette deck. Running out of time like I'm Jonathan Lawson's rent check. My mind is where the wild things are, Maurice Sendak. In withdrawal, I want it all, please give me that pen back. Y'all, I caught my first beating from the other kids when I was caught reading. Oh, you think you smart, start bleeding. The pops tried in vain to get me to fight back. Sister tapped my brain, said, psh, you'll get him right back. Oversensitive, defenseless, I made sense of it. My pencil in the lengths to which I'd go to learn my strengths and knock them senseless. These sentences are endless, so what if they leave me friendless? Damn, you got no chill. Fucking right, I'm relentless. I know Abuela's never really gonna win the lottery, so it's up to me to draw blood with this pen hidden artery. This Puerto Rican's brains are leaking through the speakers, and if he can be the shining beacon this side of the GWB and shine a light when it's gray out,
I wrote my way out.
Oh, I was born in the eye of the storm. No loving arms to keep me warm. This hurricane in my brain is the burden I bear. I can do without, I'm here. Cause I wrote my way out.
Picked up the pen like Hamilton.
I wrote my way out of the black, wrote my way out of the project.
Picked up the pen like Hamilton.
I wrote my way out of the book, wrote my way out of the
my way. Picked up the pen like Hamilton.
I wrote my way out.
Really, I saw like a hole in the rap game. So if I wanted to put my little 2 cents in the game, then it would be from a different perspective. I thought that I would represent for my neighborhood and tell their story, be their voice in a way that nobody else thought of. Tell the real story.
Oh, what's that you're thinking? You have questions? I know. That's great. Because ask a question, I have a question. I have plenty of answers. So together, we can be dancers. You ask a question, I ask a question. You give an answer, I give an answer. And then I promise, by the time we're done working together, generations and generations upon children will no longer be set astray by not properly handling the truth in this kind of way, together.